Welcome to Bridges here at cbrc.tv. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all our viewers around the world.
Hi, good evening, Dr. Evangeline Estrada at sa mga viewers ng ating Bridges. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
And hello, good evening, good morning, or good afternoon to our viewers on Bridges here on cbrc.tv.
Welcome to Bridges here at cbrc.tv. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all our viewers around the world.
Hi, good evening, Dr. Evangeline Estrada at sa mga viewers ng ating Bridges. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
And hello, good evening, good morning, or good afternoon to our viewers on Bridges here on cbrc.tv.
Welcome to Bridges here at cbrc.tv. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all our viewers around the world. And I am Evelyn Songko, and together with me is Attorney Dwight Ramos. Attorney Dwight Ramos is the second Vice President of the Civil Law Alumni Association or Alumni Foundation, Inc. Of course, I'm very happy to have him. And welcome to the show. This is your first hosting with me, Attorney Dwight. Thank you for being with me this evening. Hello, Attorney Dwight.
Yes, thank you as well, Dr. Evelyn. And to all our viewers worldwide, good evening, good morning, and good afternoon. Welcome to Bridges. And thank you for having me as your co-host tonight.
Okay. And alam mo ba, Attorney Dwight, ang ating guest tonight, is a returnee. Yan, she's returning because of insistent public demand. Marami kasing mga questions about her presentation last time. Last time she presented vertical garden in the urban setting. But this time, she will also continue that. But at least she will give us more about vertical garden. Would you like to introduce her now? Ikaw na yung may privilege to introduce her.
Yes, of course. And our guest tonight is Eva Estrada. She has a PhD in Development Studies from the UST Graduate School. She is a mountain climber, a nurse, and a community volunteer who founded the Luntiang Pader movement. She is interested in crafts and gardening, a very artistic and dedicated person indeed. And yes, a guest returnee. Welcome back to the show, Dr. Eva.
Hello, thank you to the UST Graduate School Alumni Association for inviting me to the show. And thank you to the UST Alumni Association. Good day po to all, and happy to be back here at Bridges, Doc Evelyn and Attorney Dwight.
And we are happy to have you back, Nakakatuwa kasi tonight, again, mas marami kang sasabihin sa amin tungkol sa vertical garden, diba? Marami tayong masishare sa kanila. Naku, Eva, maraming nagtatanong sa akin, yung bang vertical garden, basta lang ilalagay mo yung mga plants or do you design it?
Yes, before that po, I would like to inform the viewers that all the photos that I will be showing to you are all my original documentation in the context of community setting. So these are just basics and practical ways to start having your vertical garden. So to answer your question, Doc Evelyn, allow me to share with you what Patrick Blanc said. As I've discussed last time, Patrick Blanc was a French botanist and considered to be the father of vertical gardens. So he said that a vertical garden is like a canvas, and the gardeners are the painters of our garden. So tayo po na mga gardeners o hardinera at hardinero, plantita, plantito, ay maihahalin tulad sa isang pintor na gumagawa ng isang obra. So even the famous French painter Claude Monet drew his painting inspiration from his garden. So sa hardin po siya humuhugot ng kanyang mga inspirasyon sa pagpipinta. So there are other highly technical wall gardens with automatic systems, but I'll be sharing with you the manual designs and practical ones. So designing your vertical garden is easy. So you just need to do three practical steps. You just need to observe around, use your imagination, and start painting your garden just like Patrick Blanc and Claude Monet did. So sa makatuwid po, kailangan po tayong magmasid-masid, gamitin ang imahinasyon sa pagpaplano o pakiramdaman ang ating guni-guni para masimula ng ating obra. At para po masimulan ang ating obra, kailangan nating humugot ng inspirasyon sa mga bagay-bagay na magmumula sa ating pamamahay, sa ating bakuran at kapaligiran. So tulad na lamang po ng gate na ito, kung makikita nyo sa larawan, sa paglalagay ng wall garden, you provided some sort of privacy for this 3-door apartment. So kung makikita nyo po, yung bakanting wall sa kanan, pwede rin pong pagplanuhan na lagyan ng vertical garden. Dito naman po sa susunod na larawan, ang mga bintana po ay pwede rin pong pagplanuhang lagyan ng garden. Pwede po salain ng wall garden ang mga alikabok at init ng araw para hindi diretsong pumasok sa bintana ng bahay. So kung mapapansin niyo po, ang halamang ginamit niya ay all green. No, halo-halong kombinasyon ng ornamental at herbal plants. Pwede rin po sa mga concrete fences, no, o bukod or bakod na yari sa bato at sa mga poste ng inyong gate. Dito po naman, yaman din lamang na ang kanyang tindahan ay nasa harapan ng creek, naisipan niyang magpaalam sa barangay para po maglagay ng wall garden. Kung mapapansin niyo po, lahat ng kanyang halaman ay puro mga mayana at makukulay. So, pwede rin po sa harapan ng inyong bahay kung kayo po ay may bakanting pader. Kung nakikita niyo po ang pagkakaayos ng halaman niya, salit-salit po ang pagkakaayos ng kulay ng mga halamang mayani niya. So sa kabuuan po, Doc Evelyn, Attorney Dwight, sa pagpaplano po ng inyong disenyo, kailangan pong isaalang-alang natin ang lugar, ang intensyon, bakit mo ginagawa o yung purpose, balance, at ang kaaya-ayang itsura ng ating magiging hardin.
Wow, talaga naman. Napakaganda, Doc Eva, no? At sabi nga ng kaibigan ko na plantita, kay sarap pagmasdan ang mga halaman pag ito'y ating inalagaan. At lalo na siguro pag nagamit natin ito sa isang vertical garden. At syempre pa, Valentine's period na. So siguro pwede rin pang regalo ito. You can have a garden of...
Pwede po.
Yes. And Doc Eva, I can see that you make use of several materials in putting up a vertical garden. Can you tell us about the materials needed and where our viewers can acquire them at reasonable cost?
Yes po. Ano-ano po ba ang mga kagamitan o materyales na kakailanganin natin para maumpisahan ang ating vertical garden? Unang-una po, yung ating pagsasabitan, syempre. So this is what we call an iron wire mesh. So you could buy this in any hardware stores for about 500 to 700 pesos for a size of 8 by 4 feet. And you could apply a primer to prevent rusting and then apply ordinary paint for protection. And if you have a budget, you can also weld it with an angle bar for a stable support. So if you are designing for a small size vertical garden, you may opt to have a ready-made mesh source from Divisoria. No? A 4 feet by 3 feet could cost about 220 pesos. And for bigger ones, about 240 or less than 500 pesos. And it's already painted and ready to use. Now, if you are on a budget, you may opt to look for a nearby junk shop that sells
Mm.
scrap materials or second-hand ironworks, kagaya po nung ginawa ng kapitbahay namin. Yung 3 feet by 4 feet na brand new na nagkakahalaga ng 220 pesos na wire mesh, sa junk shop po, mabibili nyo na lang to ng 30 pesos. So, bagamat po ito naman ay matatakpan ng mga halaman, pwede na rin po itong alternatibong sabitan, no, ng inyong mga halamang ilalagay. Now, this one is beyond imagination. Meron po bang makakahula kung ano po ito? So, lumapit sa akin yung isa kong senior citizen, no, na kapitbahay. At tinanong ako, Sister Eva, pwede rin po ba itong sabitan ng mga halaman? Ito po ay itatapon na sana pero ginamit niya ang kanyang imahinasyon. Remember, pagmamasid, imahinasyon. Ito po ay spring ng kama, no? Kung makikita niyo po sa kanan, ito po yung nasabitan na ng mga halaman. Kung mapapansin niyo po, ang pagkakaayos ng halaman ay hile-hilera at pare-pareho ang klase ng halaman bawat hanay. Ang susunod naman pong materyales ay ang mga vertical pots. So this is very convenient to use because it already has built-in hooks which you can peg into the mesh. So at hardware stores in malls, you can buy it at about 249.95 for 10 pieces at about 25 pesos per piece. But if you have the time and energy na makipagbunuan, no? And you are buying in bulk, you may source it from Divisoria. So makikipagbunuan tayo sa Divisoria. So this is a typical 4-inch vertical patch which costs about 15 to 20 pesos per piece. So you may purchase this one from Divisoria in bulk for 48 pieces a pack at 12 pesos each. So, and that's almost half the price, no? So, the bigger vertical pots naman, about mga 8 inches po ito, is selling as 30 to 35 pesos per piece. But if you are buying it in bulk, 48 pieces per pack, it's only 15 pesos as against 30 to 35 pesos in the market. So, of course, if you are on a budget, you may use plastic bottles and improvise. No, there's a lot of videos in the internet on how to make those. Although this entails a lot of work and it's very rewarding if you could make one, no, like that. So you could see from this photo, the next photo, that the gardener used plastic bottles and you won't even notice because they are already covered with plants. You could see that in the picture. Na-covered na sila, but this gardener used plastic bottles. So next, you will be needing soil. No? So you may use any type of soil, but I recommend loam soil for vertical gardening because this is ideal. No? It's lightweight and practical to use, especially if you have a big vertical garden. So loam soil is already complete and ready to use. So this contains some garden soil, vermicast, coco peat. Yung coco peat po, yung hibla ng baon ng buko, the rice hull, or yung ipa, yung sa palay, yung balot ng palay, and has already fertilizer in it. So ganito po ang itsura niya, buhaghag, no, at mamasa-masa, no? Ang 8 to 10 kilo pack would cost an average of 150 pesos. But it's selling online, no? You could buy that online at 60 to 90 pesos. Much even lower if you buy it in bulk. But if you see a garden store near railways, yung mga daanan po ng train sa tabi-tabi, they're selling it at 50 to 60 pesos. Yan po.
Nakakatuwa naman yan, Eva. Palagay ko lahat ng sulok, nasa liksik mo na.
Opo, naging ano po tayo innovative.
Yes. Yung mga napaka-resourceful mo talaga, Eva, no? So, nakita mo na yung mga kung saan manggagaling yung mga materyales na gagawin natin or gagamitin natin sa sa vertical garden. Na-inspire ka ba, Attorney Dwight? Sana may
Oo
time
naman.
ka, Attorney Dwight, no?
Oo naman, siyempre. Lalo na yung pagpunta siguro sa Divisoria pag wala ng pandemic.
Tama, tama. Oo. Talagang siguro ngayon bibili na lang yung iba online. Pero talagang napakalaki ng diferensya, no? Pag bibili ka
Opo.
sa junk shop at saka pag bibili ka doon
Opo.
sa
Halos
Divisoria
triple po.
at
Opo.
bibili sa mall. Oo.
Opo.
Pero syempre mas convenient na bumili sa mall. Mas
Opo.
madali lang. Pero yung challenge ba pag pumunta ka sa Divisoria, ang saya-saya mo, ang mura ng nabili mo. And
Mm.
the value of your money is actually extended because you get several pots only for a few pesos, no? Pero ngayon, ang tanong ko, Eva, maraming materyales, pero anong plants ang pwede? Kasi nakita ko kanina, no, may iba-ibang kulay. Alam mo, I like what you said, no? It's like nagde-design ka para ka nagpe-paint, no?
Opo.
You're making
That's
it
what differ
beautiful.
it's from ground gardening or horizontal gardening. Ito po kasi vertical garden nakaharap
Oo,
sa'yo.
oo. What plants are you recommending us to use? O
Okay.
ano yung
From
ginamit ninyo?
from our experiences po, hanging plants and area plants are easy to manage. Like the philodendrons, yung lime colored plants po below, dyan sa next picture. Opo. So, philodendrons, that lime-colored plants below, they are easy to manage. No, it's easy to grow and propagate. I'll show you later, no, on how to do it. So, it has a nice foliage kasi makapal siya pag lumago, no, and very pleasing to the eyes. So, it does not need constant watering, and you may water these plants at least about 3 to 4 days. And the plants above it are the picara plants. No? It also gives a nice color when the sun strikes through it. So these plants needs watering and at least every other day, but it's also very resilient. Oh,
Mm.
how I love these plants. So these are called Mayana plants. So this has been the all-time favorites of vertical gardeners because of its brightly colored leaves. So it's easy to propagate po. You just need cuttings and dip it right away into the soil. So, or you may opt to put it first in water for rooting para magkaugat. Or you may observe the roots appearing at approximately about 4 to 7 days and it's ready for soil planting. So, these Mayana plants likes to be watered every day. Yun lang po ang challenge, no? And it also blooms flower spikes that attracts bees and butterflies. It is sold 35 pesos per pot or 3 for 100 pesos in other stores. But if you want to unwind, no, and you want to go on a trip, Silang Cavite is the place to find interesting plants at much lower cost po. So you may buy Mayana plants there for only 12 to 15 pesos a pot compared to 35 pesos or 50 pesos.
Wow.
Ngayon,
Doc Eva.
hanggang ngayon, ganyan ang price, ha?
Apa, Doc, apa. Pero
Tama.
Yes,
yun nga po kasi sa online talagang medyo ngayon dahil very competitive talaga pong matataas ang presyo ng halaman.
yes. So, very affordable
Yes.
din pala, no? And aside from
Yeah. Ang ganda. Mm-mm.
being easy to manage and then to propagate and to plant, at syempre mag-enjoy ka pa pala, no? The more you enjoy yata, the more it gets cheaper pa. So talaga naman kung naging expert ka rito like si Doc Eva, talaga naman mag-enjoy ka ng gusto. But Doc Eva, how do you lay out the plants in a vertical garden? No? Kasi nakita natin iba-iba pala yan at there are certain needs sa watering and sa care. Paano mo sila i-layout?
Actually, Attorney Dwight, for all the televiewers, there's no hard rule in laying out your plans. But I suggest that paths should be aligned vertically for water conservation purposes. So that's for excess water or dripping water to be catched by the paths below it. So as you can see from the photo, the layout is plants of the same type and color are arranged horizontally. So you could also see some Lourdes plants placed at the bottom because it needs less watering. No? And Lourdes plants or the Chlorophytum laxum may be bought at 5 to 10 pesos per pot. So you may also lay out your plants in no particular pattern, no? Kanya-kanyang tree, no? With a mixture of ornamental and herbal plants. So this gardener chose to plant some oregano along with mayana and the purple hearts, as you can see the purple color there, and the monstera plants, the one with the hole in the on the leaves. This vertical garden includes naman growing ampalaya, no, at the side of the vertical wall. So the gardener also grows oregano, some flowering plants like the Vietnam rose, mayana, and Lourdes plants. Most vertical gardeners love to have oregano in their garden because of its mosquito repelling and therapeutic properties.
Yeah, so kumbaga nakumbinsi na tayo, alam na natin kung ano ang vertical garden, paano ginagawa, anong kailangan, magkano ba ang budget dyan, kompletong-kompleto na ang knowledge natin. And syempre, pag nandyan na yan, Doc Eva, how do you care for it naman? Paano mo pangangalagaan para laging maganda yung iyong vertical garden?
Okay po. So aside from watering them or constant pruning, kasi kailangan putol-putulin mo yun para lumago siya lalo. And rearranging, kasi usually it depends upon the sun, no, and the water needs of the plants. They also need to be fertilized kasi po as you water the plants, nawawala po yung nutrients dun sa soil And you don't need to spend a single cent. Remember the process, magmasid-masid. So these are practical and useful ways to fertilize your plants. Banana peels, yung balat ng saging, they are good sources of natural fertilizer. It's rich in potassium, it helps grow stronger roots, no? And you may dry them up and crush it pag malutong na siya and crush it into powder and put a tablespoon every 15 days. And you may make banana tea also by soaking it in water. So after 7 days, disregard the peels and use the tea for watering. Kumbaga yung pinaglagaan, no, nung balat ng banana. And you may also use crushed egg, no, yung binurog na eggshells as a supplement. This is rich in calcium. So these crushed shells can be mixed with the soil, no, for aeration so that your soil is not compacted. So, thereby allowing roots to grow. Kasi minsan tumitigas na yung lupa no? So, it could also be placed on top of the soil as mulch to prevent weed, yung mga damo-damo from growing and prevent snails, yung mga suso, yung mga maliliit na suso from attacking your plants. And you may also use coffee grounds as fertilizer, which you can request for free po, no? From coffee shops, yung mahilig mag-coffee dyan. No? It could also be used to repel ants, no? Yung pagtanggal ng mga langgam. Okay, to propagate your hanging plants like the pothos, the monstera, the philodendrons, you just need to look for its root nodes. No? As you can see in the picture, yung ugat dun sa tabi ng dahon, no? Cut in between the root nodes and you can directly plant it in the soil like that on the right side of the picture. Yon, ganyan po. Napakadali pong proseso.
Parang ang saya-sayang mag-plant, Eva.
Yes
And
po,
I think sabi nga ni Green, sabi nga ni Green, ako, napaka-interesting. Sabi ni Ellen, practical tips daw yan. Ang galing, ang galing. And of course, si Mamir naman, ang sabi niya, ang saya naman. Si Claude, nice, engaging show, especially with photos, being shown as the knowledgeable and substantial guest speaks.
Thank you.
The host Dr. Siyempre ako yun, ano? At saka si Attorney Dwight, our super.
Thank you.
Maraming salamat, Claude, ha? Oy, nako, pinapanood mo kami. Salamat. And syempre naman, si Dr. Nandi nanonood. Mega support siya sa'yo, no? Uy, Eva, ang galing-galing nun. Ano? I am so inspired kasi these things will really beautify our
Yes po.
environment, and then there will be more tawag niyan, oxygen around us. Oo, nakakatuwa.
You could
So,
imagine
Eva,
nga po, Doc, pagka
uh,
ang buong street sa harapan ng mga bahay ay naka-wall garden, napakaganda pong tignan.
si Bench de Guzman, ang sabi niya, I love gardening. Wow. No, pa marami na
Wow.
tayo niyan. Interesting daw po, sabi niya. Naku, baka meron ka pang gusto ipakita sa amin, Eva.
Yes po. Of course,
Sige
I
nga.
would like to show some gardens where you can draw your inspiration from in designing your vertical garden. So here they are. From Barangay Kasilawan, Makati City.
Oh, aha.
15 shades of green.
Wow, ang ganda niyan.
Opo. Yan po yung mga 15 senior citizen gardeners dito po sa Sitio 6, Mendoza Street, Kasilawan. Sila po yung mga pioneers ng vertical gardening dito sa ating Barangay Kasilawan, Makati City.
Aha. O pati nga si Dr. Carl, balita, gusto na niya magkaroon ng vertical gardening sa kanyang balkon, ha? Yeah. So, nai-inspire
Yan.
na talaga kami, Eva.
At may
Thank
mga
you very
pangalan po
much.
talaga yung mga
Mag-vertical
garden nila.
tayo, ha?
Opo. Maganda rin pong pangalanan nyo yung vertical garden nyo para po talagang maisa sa puso ang paghahalaman.
Meron kang
Attorney
ownership.
Dwight. Attorney Dwight, baka magbibigay ka ng regalo ngayong Valentine's, ha?
Oo, nakalista na
Ng
yan.
halaman.
Yes, very nice
Okay.
talaga. So, okay. Thank you, Doc Eva. No? Napakagaganda ng iyong mga pinakita, and of course, capping it off kung paano pangangalagaan. Napaka-importante rin so that day in and day out through the years ay mapapangalagaan natin ang beauty na binibigay ng ating vertical garden.
O si Sabrina, thank you very much, Sabrina, for your comment, ha? Pakipost naman uli ng comment ni Sabrina. Can we do that? Vertical gardens don't just look good. They do good for the planet as well. Naku, marami na tayong nag-gather ng mga nagmamahal sa planet. O si Marie Pe, yan ang ating president ng CFAD, Alumni Association. Interesting, inspiring. Nako, Ma'am Marie Pe, ha? Miss Yang, ikaw ay magbe-vertical garden na rin, di ba? Alam ko, meron kang hydroponics, ha? Marie? Mm-hmm. Yes. And of course,
it's also
yes,
motivating.
Attorney Dwight?
Sabi rin niya, it's very motivating.
Oh.
Sinabi niya, yes, totoo yun.
Oo. Malaki, yan very therapeutic ang mag-gardening. It really makes you feel good. Lalong-lalo na, pagka naman ang itinanim mo ay nagbubunga din. Siyempre, yung mga flowers, so nice. Sabi ni Tess, halaman ay magandang expression of love this Feb. Uy, merong mga may mga heart shape. Si John Ernest Ranyola, Fesalbon, si John, ha? Hello po, Dr. Evangeline Songko, and my friend, Dr. Evangeline Estrada. Hello, John.
Hello, John.
Wow, classmate mo ba si John? Hindi naman, Mas nauna ka sa kanya. Okay. Naku, thank you very much, ha, sa mga nag-watch tonight. And thank you very much also to our guest tonight. Huwag kang magsasawa, Eva. Make sure that you make yourself available. Sabi ni Eva, ay ni Ida, Yonko, can we plant veggies for vertical gardens? Surely. Tama ba, Eva?
Pwede po.
Eva, can you give us a few words, your message to our viewers?
Yeah, for my final word po, I would like to quote what garden coach Janet Phillips said. So, there are no gardening mistakes, only experiments. So, tanggalin na po natin sa ating isipan yung kasabihan, wala akong green thumb kaya lahat ng hawakan kong halaman namamatay. O kaya naman po, wala akong espasyong pagtataniman. Wala na po tayong excuse para hindi magtanim ng mga halaman. May vertical gardening na po. So, kailangan lang po ang panimulang kaalaman, kagaya ng ginagawa ng Bridges, yung continuing education sa ating mga manonood, taga-subaybay. Lahat po ay natututuhan. Marami pong alternatibong pamamaraan para masimulan ang paghahalaman. At sabi nga po ni Audrey Hepburn, sino nga po ba ang hindi nakakakilala kay Audrey Hepburn? To plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow. Sabi yan ni Audrey Hepburn. Because the act of planting, no, Dr. Songko and Attorney Dwight, or gardening itself, resonates hope that there is yet another day, no, to come. So we try to commune with nature by gardening and planting and hope that it will produce positive outcomes, be it fruits or flowers, and most importantly, our fellowships or sense of community. So, gardening is giving back to a supreme being who created such beautiful things around us. Kaya po, simulan na po natin ang ating obra. Mag-vertical gardening na po tayo.
Thank you very much, Eva. Attorney
Yes.
Dwight, gusto mo nang mag-thank you?
Yes, and syempre, gusto ko lang din sabihin na nagulat ako doon sa last message ni Doc Eva, no? Kasi all the while, ang talagang iniisip ko, ang vertical gardening ay para sa sarili, para sa mahal sa buhay, pwede mong iregalo, pwede sa environment because napapaganda yung environment and nagagamit pa yung mga recyclables, no? Pwede mong gamitin sa garden. But what surprised me was that it can also be a form of prayer. And a gift not only to nature but of course to our Creator. So, napakaganda, Doc Eva. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Welcome po, Doc.
Yes, and Doc Evelyn.
Oh, of course, papasalamatan natin. Attorney Dwight, papasalamatan natin ang Graduate School Alumni Association for sponsoring this show, for inviting our guest speaker, guest resource guest natin this evening. And of course, thank you very much to USTAAI, to Ms. Ida Tionco, who is the chair of our Committee on Academics. Thank you very much. Dr. Nandi Pedrosa. Dr. Nandi Pedrosa is the president of the Graduate School Alumni Association. And of course, sa lahat ng ating mga kasama na nanood. And definitely, we would like to invite them next week, no? Happy Valentine's. And therefore, ang ating show next Sunday is Kundiman, ang awit ng puso. Oh, naman, our guest,
talagang Valentine's
de los Santos. Okay. Maraming salamat po sa inyong pakikinig at sa inyong joy for joining us this evening here at CBRC. Attorney Dwight.
Yes, thank you everyone for joining us, and let us put more into action yung love natin for nature and for our Creator. Here at Bridges, we do not build walls. We build connections of learning. We build connections of people. We build knowledge. Good night, everyone.
And here at Bridges, at CBRC, we provide bridges of hope, bridges of faith, bridges of love. Maraming salamat sa inyong pagsama sa amin ngayon, and good night. Enjoy the evening. Welcome to Bridges here at cbrc.tv. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all our viewers around the world.
Hi, good evening, Dr. Evangeline Estrada, at sa mga viewers ng ating Bridges. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
And hello, good evening, good morning, or good afternoon to our viewers on Bridges here on cbrc.tv.